Can you hear me? Yes? All good? So maybe we don't need a microphone. Is the sound clear? Yes? No? Not clear. كيف فينا نحطه مثلا؟
إذا عنده stand.
Do you have a stand?
You have a stand.
Hello? Can you get the stand from Liwan? لا ستاند للمايك مثلا. ما في ستاند؟ ما في، هيدي ما حلو.
أوراقها هني لازم من قبل أنتم مرتبين إن stand وبودي.
هن قالوا من قبل ممنوع مايكروفون.
وزيرة VIP. عرفتي؟ مستحيل. كيف وزيرة تمسك المايك ما يمسك بس نسمع في اللايف. أنا ما يهمني اللايف أهم شيء في القاعة. واحد على اللايف ستريم والقاعة.
ايه هيدا هو. طب والمايك اللي بدها تحكي فيه وين؟
هو هذا واحد. هو هذا ترى واحد هيشبكوه على اللايف ستريم على القاعة.
كلهم يعملوا هيك من قبل انا عارفة. So you did both live stream and right? Okay.
اعملي تيست.
Hi, can you hear? Live stream as well, please. Live stream? Yes? Okay. So we don't need a stand, right? So we don't need a stand, right?
No stand.
No stand?
خلاص.
Okay. I'm gonna test for the sound leveling. Hello? Can you check the sound level? Sound level. It's fine?
Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency Rim Ibrahim Al Hashimi, Minister of State for International Cooperation, CEO of Expo Dubai Authority, and Chairwoman of the Board of Trustees of Sorbonne University, Abu Dhabi. Your Excellency Mahra Al Mutawa'i, Director of the Regional Center for Educational Planning at UNESCO, and Professor Nathalie Martial-Braz, Vice Chancellor of Sorbonne University, Abu Dhabi, welcome to the SUAD Youth COP panel session. Dear guests, dear students, dear organizing committee, dear winning teams, dear Professor Tarian, Dr. Julia, we are delighted to have you here, and I would like to start this session by welcoming Her Excellency Rim Ibrahim Al Hashimi on stage for the opening remarks.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. Dear friends, it's an honor to join you this morning as we celebrate the progress of the Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi Youth COP towards its stated goal of shaping and empowering a new generation of climate leaders. When we launched this program in May of this year, we brought together more than 700 participants from 85 countries, alongside a panel of distinguished experts from both the global north as well as the global south. Unfortunately, where we are today, in a headlong rush for human progress, we've discovered that we've sacrificed planetary health. And while we are unwavering in our commitment to leading towards a transition of a healthy, clean, and just world, the scale of the challenge is such that we will only find the solutions we need if we work together, every nation and every generation. Today we gather under the auspices of a young country that is founded on the wisdom and on the values of its elders, but also propelled forward by the vision and the vigor of the younger generation. The United Arab Emirates is committed entirely to the inclusion and prioritization of these young people because we believe it is the essential and urgent conversations that they have which will shape our future, many of which are here in this room today. We're committed to bringing together of all actors and cultures to listen to one another, to learn from one another, and to act with impact in the interests of one another. The Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi Youth COP is actually a testament to this approach, inspiring more than 120 applications from students of 46 different nationalities, enrolled in more than 40 different universities around the world. Our winners hail from far afield as Mexico and South Korea, and I wish them well in the upcoming session. I further wish to extend my very warmest congratulations to all of those who took part in this journey, and also, more importantly, all of those who continue to carry the mantle of climate leadership today and tomorrow. Thank you all for your time and attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Professor Nathalie Martial-Braz, Vice Chancellor of Sorbonne University, Abu Dhabi, can I please welcome you on stage for your speech?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Rim Ibrahim Al-Hashimi, Your Excellencies. I'm very happy to be here and honored to welcome all those students who participate to this challenge. That was a dream last year when we began to work on the preparation of this COP. That was a dream to bring all the students together, to being able to discuss and to challenge all the different issues on climate. And we succeed. We succeed thanks to the beautiful team of the University of Ceará and the University of Paris. And that was absolutely amazing to see all those students from 25 countries debating during hours, during weekends, all together, just for being part of this climate change and for this new generation. I think it's really important for us because it's the link between the Paris Accord, Paris Agreement, where the main idea was to save the future generation, and this COP28, where the future generation is embedded, is empowered to save their planet. And I think that is the work and the function of a university, to give this agora for the student to being able to be the leader from tomorrow, to save all the climate environment for the future generation. So I'm very, very happy and proud to receive your declaration that you build by your own, and to receive all the students from Brazil, from South Korea, from Mexico, and to show that the flashpoint of all those challenges could be the UAE, because it's absolutely important to bring all those people with conscious to raise those issues. And I'm very happy because as we are here on the hub of the Ministry of Education, where the main subject is to help to build this legacy of the UAE for the future, to be sure that this youth COP is bird and raised in Sorbonne, but that will continue for the future in Brazil, in Paris, probably in Mexico, and in your university in South Korea, for the better of the future. So thank you very much. Thank you, of course, of all our supports. Thank you for the technical team, for Manon, for Theodora, who were part of this journey. And thank you so much for your youth and your ability to work all together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Nathalie. I would like to welcome now on stage Dr. Julia Mottbomvol, Professor of Law at Université Paris-Cité.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, and distinguished delegates from the COP28. It is an honor to stand before you today as we reflect upon the remarkable journey of the Youth COP, the SUAD Youth COP. This was a visionary project aimed at nurturing the next generation of climate leaders. Over the past year, this entirely virtual initiative has transcended geographical barriers and boundaries and forged a sustainable bridge between civilizations. Our pride swells as we acknowledge the collaboration of 3 esteemed universities: Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi, Universidade Federal do Ceará in Brazil, and Université Paris-Cité in France. This beautiful alliance has exemplified the power of global cooperation in addressing the pressing issue of climate change. This project had, since the beginning, the ambition to be inclusive, with a special focus on students from the Global South. And this ambition has not only been met, but actually has exceeded. Months of meticulous preparation, engaging webinars, and collaborative meetings, they paved the way for 3 days of virtual negotiation. Students, our students, all of the Youth COP members, they transformed themselves in delegates, mock delegates, representing countries, and they have passionately assumed their roles, and they worked in pivotal climate topics such as energy transition, oceans, and loss and damages. The culmination of this effort resulted in these mock delegates adopting resolutions and decisions, showcasing not only their commitment, but also their ability to real solutions, to find real solutions to our shared environmental challenges. So this entirely carbon neutral simulation was more than a mere exercise. It became a catalyst for critical thinking and innovative proposals that will undoubtedly shape the future of the climate discourse. So today I stand alongside the organizing committee, which is a very dedicated group of students too, who orchestrated this transformative experience. I extend my heartfelt gratitude and their unwavering enthusiasm to their commitment. Thank you so much. And I additionally applaud the 2 winning teams, the teams that demonstrated these outstanding results during the mock negotiation. They come from Mexico and South Korea. And they exemplify for us this spirit of collaboration and excellence that defines this initiative from the university. To the Youth COP delegates that join us online, they are watching our live stream, I want to say that your participation has been instrumental in making this project a success. Your voices matter, and your dedication to better public policies is an inspiration to us all. So thank you very much. Keep fighting for a sustainable future, and know that your contributions are currently shaping the world. And of course, I would like to address a profound thank you, first of all, to Her Excellency. Thank you very much for all your support since the beginning, and also to Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi in the name of Professor Marcel Braz, but also the whole team, Manon, Theodora, Gwen. Thank you so much, everyone. Your support has been instrumental in bringing this vision to life. We are truly grateful to your commitment to fostering the future leaders of tomorrow. So in closing, just to be very quick, I should like to say that we must carry forward, as Professor Marcel Braz, this momentum generated by the Youth COP. Together, we strongly believe that together as a global community, we can build a more sustainable future and resilient future for the future generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Julia. Professor Taryn Montalverin, Professor of Law at Universidade do Ceará in Brazil. Please, if you could join me on stage.
Thank you. Her Excellence, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with sheer delight and profound sense of gratitude. Each and every one of you has contributed to the vibrance of this gathering, investing your time, engagement, and passion into the vital cause we collectively champion. My passion lies in fostering research and actively participating in the development of innovative public policies as we navigate the complex terrain of global challenges, especially the press.
The indispensable role of researchers. They serve as advocates for systemic transformation. The rich tapestry of knowledge and diverse perspectives woven throughout this project has enriched our understanding of the pivotal role that youth play in confronting the climate change. Now, as we conclude this chapter, let us carry the inspiration and power. Insights gained here into our respective endeavors around the globe.
The seeds of knowledge planted during these months are powerful, and I am optimistic about the positive transformations. Together, let us forge a path towards a sustainable and resilient future for our planet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Taran. Apologies for the technical issue. We would like to carry on our session by giving the floor to the organizing committee of the Youth COP and the winning teams. I think you all deserve to be on stage and be here and present your ideas. So I would like to welcome first Eliza and Lucas, who are going to play us a very exciting video that they've been preparing during this year before animating the student debate. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here representing the Youth COP Organizing Committee, and especially representing the 3 universities that have come together to create this beautiful event. Throughout the Youth COP, we had 3 days of active negotiations and debate, and we welcome here today the 5 of the 6 students that excelled on those 3 days. So before we start the debate with the students and our younger representative, we'd like to play you a short video showing a little bit of what inspired the Youth COP and why we think it's so important to have events for the youth and this sort of initiative.
weight or main resource is the people.
Hola, mi nombre es María Padilla. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Mexico City and I study international relations. I think I'm passionate about international relations and the study of policy because it is a place where a lot of different levels of society like come together towards a solution. I think, especially when talking about climate change, there is no way one country can solve the problem, nor one sector of society. So cooperation is necessary, and so different countries coming together and finding solutions that are sustainable, that maybe don't damage the economy so much, and that allow us all to have a better environment for today and for tomorrow. I think it's a really interesting process and also a really necessary process. So yes, that's what I'm passionate about. Hola, mi nombre es Mimoyespa. I am from Mexico City. I am 22 years old. I am currently studying my bachelor's degree in international relations at El Colegio de Mexico. I chose to study international relations because I wanted to understand a little bit more about how the world operates and how politics throughout the world work. And in my bachelor's, it has helped me a lot to understand uh, all the different ways that there is to be a woman in the world, and I'm very passionate about women's rights and human rights. And my bachelor's has also helped me to understand how we can work together to solve such a big problem as climate change. I think that all the differences that we have as countries and as nations can help us to cooperate and get to a better solution for a more just and a more just society and a just world. Hola, mi nombre es Laila García. I am Mexican. I'm originally from a city called Querétaro in central Mexico, and right now I study in Mexico City at El Colegio de Mexico. My bachelor's is in international relations, and I wanted to study that because I wanted to understand in general how the world works. It's really broad, but that was what I was thinking when I was 18 years old. And I think I made the right choice because getting into my bachelor's, as I have learned a lot about history, geography, politics, and that's how I came across climate change. I was always curious about it, but when I started researching it more, I realized that it's a really complex problem that we need all of our full attention to solve it. And that's why I wake up every day and I try to think and work towards a solution for climate change. It's very interdisciplinary, and that makes it more difficult to solve in my opinion, but that motivates me instead of making me feel sad or bummed about it, because I think that with enough cooperation between our generation and future generations and people who are already working, we can work towards a solution.
Selamat siang, nama saya Alan Darmawan, saya berasal dari Indonesia. Hello, my name is Alan. I'm from Indonesia. I'm currently a student at Yonsei University Graduate School of International Studies. I'm studying international cooperation. My research interest is in sustainable management, renewable energy policy, and international cooperation. So Indonesia is a country with a very strong community-based culture. So we always do everything collectively. We always do everything together. One fact that I would like to share about Indonesia is our country is very diverse. We have thousands of tribes. We have thousands of dialects. We have very vibrant cultures from different tribes, different groups of people, different religions. So in terms of climate change, we have always been very united, even though we are located in the global south, but we have always tried to push for action.
can do them much longer. And I truly believe in the purpose of this project because it has a main goal to unite people around the world. It unites three international universities from three different regions in the world: Brazil, United Arab Emirates, and France, three different higher education institutions that have the same goal. It is to train the future generation of climate leaders and put education as a pivotal tool to climate change transformation. We have managed to gather students from all over the world, and we give an important role for students from the global south that for us are the ones who are still lacking training in climate change issues. So that's why I believe in this project. I think it is a wonderful tool to obtain our targets concerning climate change.
There's a week kind of beautiful, and every night has a state so magical. And if there's love in this life, there's no obstacle you can't be defeated. I know we are tumbling down in the city we are. Great clouds fall over the hills, bringing darkness from above.
So what we hope to have showed you with this video is that the main purpose of the Youth COP, and the only way that we think it's possible to really make change in the world, is by uniting people. So this is the purpose of the Youth COP, bringing people together, and this is what happened throughout the months of preparation for the Youth COP. So to celebrate that and to show a little bit of what happened and the results of the Youth COP, we would like to start a debate. First, by inviting our younger representative, Angela Zong, currently studying economics and environmental science public policy in Harvard University.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see so many faces here today interested in youth education, specifically on the topic of climate and COP. As you now know, my name is Angela, and I serve here as a Youngo representative, which is the UNFCCC's official youth constituency group here at COP. On Youth Day, and as a former debater, I think it's incredible to be here, and I'm so grateful to be able to present to Your Excellency, an alumnus of Harvard as well. And so without further ado, I'd like to share some thoughts that I've been mulling over now that I've been at COP for a week. So this is my third COP, but more and more, I've been realizing that youth at COP come from very, very different worlds. Some are shackled by the chains of poverty. They are ridden with hunger and other malnourishment issues. Some are in different governmental states. Their economies look really, really different. But what we have in common is the fact that we all live in a silent majority. What does that mean? It means that 12% of parliaments around the world have representatives that are younger than 40 years old. Unfortunately, this is disproportionate to the rates of youth and growth in these communities, especially in developing countries. The math is not adding up. And so today, my topic to you was to present on why we should have youth at COP. But I think the better question is, why should youth not be at COP? First, I think just like any other constituency group, we should have access to negotiations and negotiators. Why? If you talk to many of the youth, they are surprisingly fluent on a number of these issues that are very technical, like Article 6.2 or loss and damage funds and things like that. But more importantly, we have no other access to recourse. We oftentimes cannot even be parliamentarians because of age cutoffs and other restrictions. And yet we are the ones who are going to be most impacted by climate change, as everyone in this room knows. And so yes, why shouldn't youth be at COP? Additionally, just like any other constituency group, it's important that youth are able to develop international connections. The only thing that differentiates us from our older counterparts is that you guys are older. So you've had more time to create these communities and networks. And so we want that opportunity too, especially when advocacy matters on such an international stage. So that's why it's important to have programs like Mock COP that are able to help students learn how to inherit these skills and build the capacity for them to be leaders. You keep talking about youth as future leaders, but what are you equipping them with in order for them to do anything different than the current systems that are in place right now? That is my question to you today on Children and Youth Day, the one day of the COP where I feel like youth actually have an opportunity to be heard. Finally, it's not just about what youth get from the equation. I think when young people are presented, older generations don't want to talk to us. That's why we walk around COP in young group circles. And I don't think that should be the case. I think older generations need to recognize the intrinsic value that youth provide, not only by the diversity of perspectives, but also by the fact that we grew up with these types of technologies that you guys are adopting 10, 20 years down the line. A lot of the major technologies that shape our world today were made by people under the age of 35, like Facebook, OpenAI, etc. We have new ideas, new energy, and we're at a stage of our life where we are explicitly told just to learn, just to think. And then when we present these ideas, oftentimes they are just disregarded. And I think that is a really sad, disenfranchising story. And so I think today, I'd like to center the Mock COP, this debate, and this opportunity as a way to share these youth voices and hold each other hand in hand, young and old, in order to create a just system, and not just a system. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela, for opening our debate with such relevant topics. And now I would like to invite our winning students from the Youth COP. First, Alan Damawan and Jungmin Kong from Yonsei University in South Korea. Also, I'd like to invite from Colegio del México in Mexico, Laila Garcia, Maria José Padilla, and Emilia Noemi. So thank you guys so much for being here, and congratulations on exceeding expectations on the Youth COP. You really represented what we'd like youth to be and what we'd like youth to represent. So to start our debate, I'd like to ask you, how do you believe that the Youth COP has helped you become a better climate negotiator and leader? First, I'll pass the microphone to the Yonsei University team, and then Colegio del México.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Her Excellency. It's an honor to be here in front of this amazing audience. Before I start explaining my answer, I would like to first mention that I am from Indonesia. I'm representing Indonesia even though I'm studying in South Korea, but I am representing Indonesia from the Global South. And the mock negotiation, the Youth COP, has comprises of students from the Global South. So it's very important. We have learned a lot about how to consider each country's position, because all countries in the world, they all have different stages. Some countries have more money than the others. Some countries are more developed than the others. Some countries are still developing. Some countries are least developed, where they still have other more pressing issues such as poverty, education, and other things. So when we did the mock negotiation, we had to think about all of that before we make our statements, before we make our suggestions. So it was a really great experience to discuss with students from all over the world, like students from Mexico. Oh yeah, one more thing. Our team happens to be very diverse. Me, myself, I'm from Indonesia. My friend here, Jongmin, is from South Korea. And we actually have one more student from Germany, Sophia, who is not here today. She is in South Korea. The reason why we made our team to be so diverse, because we at the beginning want to put diversity in our proposal. We want to think of a solution, of a climate solution that could reach students from all over the world. Germany as a developed country, Korea as a developed country, and Indonesia as a developing country. We all have our own perspectives, we all have our own ideas. And this is what was pictured in our proposal, what was pictured in our statements during the debate. Thank you.
Right. Just another thing that I would like to add about maybe like the art or the skill of negotiation in and of itself is that I think that especially during these negotiations and the characteristics of these negotiations, which were conducted online, and there were a lot of delegates, so obviously it was, and because it was kind of new to everyone, it was first at kind of hard to facilitate a kind of negotiation that was incredibly fruitful at first. And so I think that really the beauty of negotiation or being a good negotiator is actually just being able to sit back and listen and be able to mediate. And that takes you a long way. And I myself have, like, as a high school student, been part of a lot of model UNs. I've been in a lot of situations where I have to be a negotiator. And in those times, and especially this time around, I found that it was incredibly valuable to me as a negotiator and to this conference. And I think a reason why our team also stood out at the end of the day was because if you're in a room where everyone has their own proposal and their own idea, then it's incredibly hard to find a common ground. And so the person that finds that common ground and gets everybody to come to that common ground is going to be the most invaluable member within that chamber, right? So I think that was one incredible lesson that stood out to me during these negotiations. And I think that this applies to any situation and where negotiation is needed. And I think that is why negotiation is such an invaluable skill. I'll hand it over to the Mexican team now.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for all of you for being here. I also agree with my colleague that being able to listen to people is actually one of the greatest assets when it comes to negotiating. And I think that this specific activity, it was very useful for us because sometimes the young people like us come from activism, from climate activism. And yes, that is a really important task, and it is really necessary, but it does have limited impacts on what we can do and where we can do it. So it was really interesting to just learn how to negotiate on these really important topics, because when young people learn to negotiate and learn to listen and learn to be creative about this stuff is when we are looking at the institutionalization of climate action. So first of all, that is really important. And second of all, we think that being able to get out of the international realm that activism has was really important for us to be able to know what a country needs and how to operate with those needs and how to listen to other countries' needs. And I think that being able to collaborate with those needs actually gets you way further when it comes to making collective decisions.
Yes, I think I would quickly just add that when representing a country, I think you start believing the position of the country, and I think that happened to us in the negotiations. But then you encounter countries that have completely different climate change policies, and so you have to understand that maybe you have one goal that's more important, and so you fight for that one, but you agree on some things that you may normally wouldn't propose. And I think that's exactly what would happen here, and I think that's what many countries and their negotiators also have in mind, that you cannot implement all of your policies or all of your goals. And so it's like giving and also receiving a little bit, which is I guess it's the logic of COP, but I think being able to live it presently and having that thought process at the moment of the negotiation was really important.
Yes, thank you. Just quickly to add about this topic of representing countries that is not necessarily our own. For me, a really valuable thing was to understand the logic beneath a country's position, because really it's just another way of thinking about solutions and other proposals for fighting towards a common objective, and just figuring out and thinking and having important, urgent conversations about how to address climate change.
Thank you, everyone. And as someone from part of the organizing committee, we were really happy when we saw everyone negotiating, when we saw like the backstage of everything, because we saw not only the general assembly but like the breakout rooms, which are really important to see, like some people compromising sometimes, other people like waiting a lot to speak, but when they did, they were on point, and that is essential because we don't have to speak too much, don't to sound loudly. You just have to know what to say and when to say, and that is beautiful. And I was wondering something, I wanted to ask you guys, as youth and as youth myself, but I wanted to know what you believe is missing to elevate youth engagement worldwide in climate negotiations, because as again Yongo mentioned, the need for Yongo or for youth to be more involved, and I wanted to know more on your perspective on that topic. Again, first Yonsei and then Colegio de Mexico.
Thank you for the question. So, yeah, I believe the inclusion of young people, especially from the Global South, is very important because as we could see from the mock simulation, we could see that there are many brilliant ideas from the Global South. And in reality, like youth from the Global South sometimes do not have the chance to voice their own opinions, voice their own perspectives and ideas because they lack funding, for example. They lack the facilities to be part of like formal negotiations. So that's why we need a platform like the Youth COP. We need a platform like youth organizations where we can express our ideas, where we can express our hopes, where we can express our dream for a better world, for a greener world, for climate action. And I believe that whether in the future we would be like policymakers, academicians, professors, researchers, engineers, or any other professions, it's very important for us to have this kind of platform to just deliver what we have in our heart for the greater good. Thank you.
So I actually have two answers to that question. The first one connects to my earlier response to the first question, which is about how negotiation and collaboration is such an invaluable skill in the world of like international relations and especially like climate change, because it's an incredibly global issue. And I think that especially because in a lot of democratic countries, they tend to be based on the idea of capitalism. And also within like universities or within each of these young people's lives, you've tended to live a life where you kind of have to beat other people out to be at the top, or you have to win. And especially as somebody who comes from a debate background, I empathize with the sentiment that like you want to prove other people wrong in order to show that you are correct or show that you are the best. And I think that there is, of course, a place for that in terms of climate change or climate change negotiations. But I think the most important thing here is to understand that there's something that you want, but there's other things that other people want. And those things are not mutually exclusive, right? And I think that the skill of finding how those things are not mutually exclusive, to find a way where we can possibly have a best of both worlds scenario where you can find a common ground is so important and is such an invaluable skill. And I think that that might be something that is missing in terms of like the youth culture right now, is that we're so ingrained into believing we have to beat out other people in order to be on top, when in reality, being a good collaborator and being somebody who's good at unifying people actually makes you the most invaluable person in that room. And the second thing that I would say is that this is something that is inspired in part by something that past UN Secretary General from Korea said. His name is Bang Ki-moon. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he actually came to our school recently to give a speech on what the youth's role in climate change actually is. And I attended that lecture partly because I knew that I was going to speak at this panel, and I kind of wanted to hear his insight. And one thing that really struck with me is that he said that the youth needs to be more idealistic, and that was actually affected me more deeply, because as a young person myself who is interested in all of like this climate change, interested in activism, you hear a lot, and I feel like a lot of insecurity stems from, is anything that I'm doing actually going to make a change, right? Is anything that I'm doing or advocating for actually feasible? And like, if you think about famous figures, famous young figures, such as like Greta Thunberg, a lot of criticism stems from what this person is trying to advocate for is not realistic, it's not feasible. She's a young person that doesn't really know what she's saying, she's completely out of her depth, right? And so one thing that I always try to do is try to ground myself in reality, and that is always, I think, like a root of insecurity for a lot of youth activists. But what he said is that the youth's unique role is to be idealistic, because nobody else is going to be idealistic. But you need idealism in this world to motivate the system to change, right? Because you can have like a room full of realists that say that nothing's going to change. Then in reality, nothing will change, right? But if you have a room full of realists and you have a bunch of idealists saying, you still need to make something happen, then they are motivated to make change, however incremental, right? So idealism is needed, and that idealism can uniquely come from the youth. And that's what he was passionately urging like our students to do, is to become interested in these issues, to show that we're interested in these issues, and to advocate for change and be idealists. And that really struck with me, and that is also something that I think that the youth need, is to understand that, sure, maybe the things that you are advocating for might not have immediate results. Maybe it might be kind of idealistic, but that's the point, right? Because you need to motivate the system to change. And the more idealistic you set those goals, the more change is actually going to be implemented, right? To actually meet that, even if it's not completely feasible. So I thought that was an invaluable piece of information that I wanted to share. I'll pass it over to...
Thank you. Yes, thinking back to the question of what is lacking within youth to be involved more in climate action, I think that we need to go back to the nature and the scale of the problem. So we're talking about climate change. We're talking about something that impacts all of us. And I think that this just needs to remind us that it's an interdisciplinary area for solutions. It's not exclusive for the social sciences or for exact sciences. We need to have more culture involved, etc., because this way we can all drive our actions toward climate action and not just living in negotiation rooms. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the students for your brilliant insight by the youth for our panel. So now we'd like to invite our colleagues, Beatriz and Gabriel, to declare the Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi Call to Action for Future Generations.
Hi, everyone. It's such an honor to be with you today. And answering to your question and to your professor's question, right, you mean, when we talk about idealism, and you are also young, so hold on to that for as long as you can. I started being a youth activist 10 years ago, and today, seeing you, it definitely fills me up with hope. So I think that what you really bring to us is a lot of hope and a lot of energy, so thank you for that. And in response to the negotiations and to how you negotiated on every topic, we were inspired to write down the call to action for future generations of the Sorbonne University of Abu Dhabi. And it's my honor to now pass on the word to Gabriel so he can read it to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorbonne University, Abu Dhabi, call to action for future generations. Recognizing the gravity of the current climate crisis threatening both our present and future. Acknowledging that the current nationally determined contributions guides us towards a planetary temperature increase beyond the safe limits set by the Paris Agreement. Affirming the pivotal role of education in shaping the current and future generations of decision makers, legislators, civil servants, corporate leaders, employees, communities, and civil society. Emphasizing the importance of science-based solutions to build a sustainable and resilient future and the urgent need to bridge the gap between public policies and academia to develop climate change-related fundamental and empirical research and to increase its funding. Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi, on the occasion of COP28 in Dubai, believes in the importance of additional commitments on critical issues such as oceans, just energy transition, and loss and damages, and more particularly declares that nationally determined contributions must integrate specific measures related to oceans, give their vital role in the global climate agenda. Particular emphasis should be directed towards the enhancement of methodologies, with a focus on refining them to comprehensively capture and recognize the invaluable contributions made by the ocean's natural functions and the blue economy to the stabilization of climate. Urgent action is required to address the plight of climate refugees. It requires a comprehensive and collaborative effort that combines mitigation strategies to tackle the root causes of climate change and adaptation measures to assist those forced to relocate who are currently to heightened poverty levels. The global North and South should collaboratively develop and implement clear, just, and equitable criteria for fulfilling energy transition commitments and programs. More particularly, technology transfer must be recognized as a fundamental pillar of all energy transition public policies, as it enhances the Global South's ability to combat climate change while promoting economic growth, social development, and environmental sustainability in the long run. All segments of society, from governments to the private sector, must significantly increase financing to the Loss and Damage Fund. Effective implementation and monitoring of these resources are imperative, translating commitments into accountable actions. As education stands as the essential and indispensable means to realize these actions, Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi commits itself to contributing to the training of future climate leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for your attention. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Beatriz. Thank you, Paulo. Thank you to the winning teams. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you to Dr. Julia and Professor Tarin, who have been behind all those teams. Thank you to Professor Nathalie for your support. And I think this is the end of the SUAD Youth COP panel. And I hope you have enjoyed the session. And we are delighted to have shared with you the commitment of Sorbonne University Abu Dhabi for climate change, as well as the commitment of Université Paris Cité and Universidad Federal do Ceará. Thank you.